I will leave you, Galit, for your keynote, so the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Always so great to be back here at MP and meet so many payment and fraud people and talk payment for 3 days. So this is just the first day. And I hope you really enjoy the panel. I definitely enjoy it. And what I want to talk today is about how you move from cost reduction to revenue generation, and how do you optimize both fraud and payment using AI. And I want to start with this really short poll, because you had 40 minutes to listen to this panel. Do you currently use AI as part of your payment process? So not broadly in your company, but for payment or fraud, like anything in your payment process, pull up your phones and tell us, like, is this something you're already using? Nice. Give it a bit more time. Yes or no? Very simple. I didn't make it complicated. It's still early for everybody. OK. So we have, keep moving. We have 38% of you that are already using AI. So 38% answered that they are already using AI. So that's really great. So I invite you to maybe think about a few topics that I want to offer you, how you can already leverage AI today in your processes, and maybe you can add something. And for everybody that is not using it, I want to show you the potential. I want to scare you a bit what's happening if you're not using it, because I think there is a reason to be a bit scared right now. Not too much, though. So let's start with this really, really small example. Probably a lot of you saw it. It was all over the news. It was all over LinkedIn. This guy just played with ChatGPT, and he got 100 free meals in McDonald's. He did something really, really simple. He asked ChatGPT, like, what do I need to say so it will show that I had a really terrible experience, and McDonald's will give me a free meal? That's all he did. And he kept getting these free meals. This may sound like, OK, you got a free meal, but what if you would get something free from you? How much does that cost? What if that would be a whole organized group that is getting something from you? That's not really nice. And I brought this example because I want to tell you, the bad actors, the fraudsters, the abusers, they are out there, and the technology is there, and they are already using it. And this is really important to understand. When we talk to merchants at Forter and how they are managing their fraud, how they fight fraud today, how they fight abusers, we are still seeing a lot of them that haven't automated it and are using rules. When you use rules, basically you say, if someone is doing this from this IP to this shipping address and this pattern and this email pattern and all of this, then I know he's a fraudster and I will block them. But what happened right now? If these fraudsters can use the technology really, really easily to understand the patterns that you are blocking, they will make a change. They will change whatever they need to change for the transaction to bypass your rules. And it's so much easier than it was 2 years ago. So maybe I can pick up in store if you already think my address is not good. Maybe I can change the pattern of my email. Maybe I can change the device, the IP. Like, everything is so easy to change right now. And I will bypass your rules. And this means that the fraudsters will keep bypassing your rules. And your rules maybe will stop some of the fraud. It will always stop some of the good actors as well. And that's a problem. And when you use properly, you will leverage AI and machine learning to understand the world, to understand identity, to understand patterns. This is where you will be able to actually stop the bad actors and identify the bad actors, versus just saying every person that does this and this and this and this and this he is a bad person. So this is about fraud, and of course we can talk a lot about what does that mean. But I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about cost reduction. So everybody is focused on cost reduction. When we talk about cost reduction, okay, there is the chargebacks and all these free things that you are giving away, and there is a processing cost and obviously a lot of more costs, but like that's the main ones related to payment and fraud. My first job as a head of payment many, many years ago, first day, I will never forget it, the CEO, I sat in his office and he said, we are paying so much money for payment, like you have to fix it, go fix it, this is what I want to see. I said, what are you looking for me to do? He's like, reduce my processing fee. Like, okay, fine, I went, I looked at the auth rate, it was terrible. I said, how come he didn't tell me to fix the auth rate? So I decided to fix both, and when the auth rate went up 5-6% and the revenue went up, he told me he didn't realize how much revenue he was losing because of the auth rate. But the processing fee, the chargeback fee, the free gift, this is all on the CFO financial report. So you are there working at a company. Maybe someone is only seeing this cost and telling you to focus on that. But what happens if you actually focus on revenue generation? And a lot of the time, we talk to merchants, they say we need to reduce chargebacks. Because it's very expensive, we may like run into the programs, like, yes, you need to reduce chargebacks. But what happens if you're also declining 10% good customers and harming your revenue? So we want to talk about conversion rate, and we want to talk about the customer lifetime value, and what do you do for them to actually come back? Because if they don't come back, you are losing revenue. And because we are here to talk, so also when we talk about it, so we want to talk about false declines. 37% of shoppers will never buy again after false declines. We talk about your internal risk systems, false declining good customers. We talk about PSP applying rules, false declining your customers. We talk about issuers thinking that me buying a flight ticket at 2 a.m. is fraud and blocking my transaction. That's a false declines as well. We talk about customer friction. 60% of the customers will abandon the checkout page if it takes too long and it's annoying to them. During the weekend, I went to my mother-in-law, and she asked me, what are you going to talk about in the conference? And I told her, you know, this 3DS window, you have to type in the code. And she told me like a really upsetting story. For me, it was upset. She's 75. And she said, I try to buy, I get this SMS code, I run, I bring a piece of paper, I write the code on the paper, then I go back to the page, then I try to type it on time, and sometimes I don't get a timeout, and I actually manage to pay. And I look at her, and I said, she's a good person. She's 75. Why does she have to do all this activity, how she called it, just to complete a payment? And this is about asking a friction from the wrong customer. Lower customer lifetime value. She told me, actually, I'm trying to avoid websites where I have to do this, because I don't like it, and sometimes it's not working, and I don't know, and sometimes I never get the code, and sometimes I get it wrong. 46% of the consumers are willing to spend. This is according to a study that Forte ran. Customers are willing to spend 46% more on average with a retailer they trust. So if they trust you, if they have a good customer experience, if they feel that you know them, they will spend more money with you. But we are here today to talk about AI and how you intelligently leverage it to generate revenue. And I want to talk about 3 things. All of them is things that we are already doing at Forte that you can apply to your business today. I want to talk about identity. What happened when you know the identity? What happened if you would know this is my mother-in-law and she's a really nice person? About issuer optimization. How can you make issuers approve more? And about automating your payment testing and your A/B testing. So let's start. Identity. Identity is not an email address. Identity is not a shipping address. Like identity is not an IP. Identity is me. Today I'm here. Last week I was in Barcelona. The week before I was in Athens. The week before I was in Dallas. I buy everywhere I go, and I'm still the same person. I'm not a different person because I try to purchase something from my hotel in Dallas. When you understand the real person that is interacting with you, it's not just during payment. It can be during account creation. You know how many times you try to create an account, they ask you to verify the email, to verify the phone. Like by the time they stop with all their requests, you don't even want to have an account with them. You try to log in, you have to do an SMS verification. All of these things is really difficult for the consumers. It's really harming customer experience. It's harming your conversion. It's harming the conversion of the people that are actually buying from you, creating accounts. When you know the person interacting with you, it can also be, by the way, they ask to return something. They want to use a coupon. They are saying they are new and they want this new, whatever you are giving someone that buying for the first time. You can make more accurate fraud decisions, and you can remove a lot of the friction for your consumers when you understand who you interact with. And today, using AI and machine learning, this is becoming better and better technology that you can really leverage to understand. So this was the first one, using AI to optimize payment and fraud. Number one, identity intelligence. Number one, issuer optimization. So I talked before about what happened with these fraudsters. They will go, they will learn your patterns and your rules, and they will find a way to bypass the rules. Issuers also have rules. Some issuers really like exemptions. Some issuers will never agree to exemptions. They always want 3DS. Some issuers have better auth rate with network token. Some have a worse auth rate with network token. Some do not even support it. And sometimes it just doesn't matter, so it's a waste of money to do it. What happens if you could understand the rules of the issuers, and you're not a fraudster, so we are not trying to do something bad, we are just trying to operate, but you're interacting, your consumers interact with you, you interact with the issuer at the end of the day. So if you know that this issuer actually is not going to agree to the exemption, and we saw an issuer lately, we see the issuers all the time changing their behavior, and even for a €100 transaction, there are issuers that will never agree to an exemption. But if you know that, is it really smart to always ask for exemption, wait for the soft decline, apply 3DS? You pay for the exemption attempt, and then you send them to 3DS, that's a longer time. And what if you would know that their decline is not going to be a soft decline because their decline codes are all mess, and they are going to say do not honor, and you will never open the 3DS window, and you just lost the transaction. You lost the transaction because you did the same thing with all the issuers. You say, hey, I want an exemption. They said no, and that's it. You lost the transaction. So if you can use AI to understand issuers' behavior, you can do what's right to begin with. You don't have to retry, you don't have to pay, so that's the cost reduction, and your conversion will go up. So we said first thing, identity, understand identity. Second thing, understand issuers. And the last thing, automate your payment testing. All of you that are running payment department, I'm sure you have all these A/B tests because you're in Europe and you're leveraging multiple processors. I'm sure it's great to say that because when I'm on stage in the US, they are still thinking that one processor is the best thing that they can do. So we're in Europe, you're all leveraging multiple processors, and you do all these A/B tests. So you try this processor, and you send half here, and sometimes you do it by issuer, and sometimes you go all the way down to the bin level. But that becomes so complicated, and that takes like forever to understand results. What if you could use machine learning and automation to actually test that, to understand what is the best processor for every transaction? Again, you will make a better decision to begin with, and you will retry only if that makes sense, instead of just retrying everything. That has a lot of cost. Also, the acquirers don't really like it. So you have also the availability today to make real-time decisions and to actually automate the way that your system understands what is better to do. So we said identity, we said understanding issuers, and now we actually talk about understanding PSPs and the chances for the transaction to go through each one of the PSPs. So again, this is who you interact with. You interact with the PSP, with the issuers, and with the consumers. When you walk away from here today, and we have 3 more days ahead of us, so by the 3rd day, I don't know what you remember, but if you can remember one thing, I would say, think about my mother-in-law. She is a really nice person. Her name is Eliane. She's 75, and she doesn't want this 3DS window. I'm not even speaking about my mom, because if she sees the 3DS window, she calls me. And she said, can you buy for me, please? Like, I don't know what to do anymore. So it sounds easy to us, and a lot of people are telling me, yeah, 3DS, if someone is not cooperating, he's fraudsters. No, it's not. Okay, so leverage AI to stay ahead of fraudsters. Okay, remember the McDonald's guy, remember the fraudsters, abusers out there. They are there, and they have more tools than ever today, and it's just getting better, to find the holes in your system. They are there. And any new flow that you introduce, any new present, if someone does this, he gets a coupon, they will find it, and they will use it against you. It's not enough to focus on cost reduction, even though this is sometimes what your boss will tell you to do. Believe me, it's really nice when you do something they don't ask you to do. They get really happy. And the last one, it can help you generate meaningful revenue from your business today. You can increase authorization, you can reduce checkout friction, and you can improve your customer experience. And the last thing, which we also mentioned in the panel, that is, I think, really important for the day-to-day, it can really help you understand performance and what's going on. And when you wake up in the morning, instead of look at all this report of performance, you can say, what didn't go well yesterday? Why is my conversion lower in France than it is in the UK? And immediately it will show you that it's because a lot of 3DS in France actually harming conversion more than in the UK. Or, hey, here is an issue, or here is a PSP that actually starting yesterday, all the transaction in that PSP dropped 5% in auth rate. Maybe give them a call and ask them what's going on. So you don't have to do this deep dive. I still remember when I managed payment, I always used to wake up in the morning, for 3 hours, I dig into the report to understand, like, oh my God, what happened in India yesterday? Oh, everybody's stressed. Right now, if you ask the right questions with the right tools, you can get a very, very quick answers, and then you can spend your time fixing it. So a lot of the panel, we spoke about employees are afraid of it, they will not be needed. You will still be needed. You will just be able to use your time to actually fix the problem rather than dig into your data and trying to understand what went wrong. So I would also encourage you to think about monitoring and reporting, but more than anything else, remember that if you don't stay ahead of these fraudsters, they will win the game. Thank you.